In the wrestling world, the summer is upon us, and in today's video, we're going to talk about just that. Hello, my name is George, and welcome to my WWE SummerSlam card predictions, where I'm going to take you through what I think is going to be the card for this year's SummerSlam. The card that I've built goes over both nights with 14 matches in total. Now, the matches don't really matter on what night they are, but I will tell you what I think is going to be the main event of night 1 and the main event of night 2. So with that being said, let's talk about our first match. Opening up SummerSlam, we have a United States Championship 6-pack challenge match consisting of Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, Ricky Saints, Royce Keys, and Sami Zayn. This is pretty much just all the mid-carders on SmackDown in a match, and I think this is going to be a really fun way to kick off the show and showcasing some really good wrestling abilities there. I was just contemplating doing Trick versus Melo, and I think that would be really cool, and I would be happy if we actually just get that. But I do think there is a lot of talent on SmackDown that can be utilized here, and doing a 6-pack challenge would be a fun way to kick off the show and really showcase everyone's abilities. We then have the Women's Intercontinental title match where I see Sol Ruca being champion, going up against Stephanie Vaquer. Yes, I think this is going to be a barn burner, guys. I don't see the Sol and Becky rivalry going for as long as the Lyra one did last year with Becky. As for Stephanie, I do see her coming back and going after a Liv Morgan and then eventually moving on to a Sol Ruca. I then have Seth Rollins versus Jacob Fatu, and the way I've put this match together is we have Seth, who's trying to get to his path of being a world champion. We have Jacob, which also wants to be a world champion. However, I do see Jacob joining the bloodline at this stage, and in Seth's path in going towards Roman, we have Jacob being that enforcer and stopping him. I think this would be a really good match for both these guys because they both actually haven't had a match together, and it would be a nice fresh rivalry for Seth and also give him a really intense feud with someone like a Jacob Fatu. And for Jacob, it just continually pushes him down a main event type person to feud with. Coming off the back of Drew McIntyre, there was a bit of Cody. Now what we are going on with Roman. If we move on to Seth, I think that's a really good move for Jacob Fatu to eventually just stay in that main event picture. I then have the WWE Women's World Championship where I have Liv Morgan versus Paige. Now I was contemplating a few things here as to who to put where, and I think Paige is the likely option here. I don't see her holding the tag titles with Brie Bella for that long, to be honest, and moving into a feud with Liv Morgan after that over the summer would be a really fun feud. We had glimpses of it on Raw recently with the Judgment Day and Paige and Brie, and I think it would be a really fun dynamic to have Liv and Paige go at it at SummerSlam. Speaking of the women's tag division, we are going to stay there and have ourselves a women's tag team championship match between the Bellas and Fatal Influence. I think this is just going to be a simple passing of the torch here. The Bellas, I do see them holding the titles going into SummerSlam, and for Fatal Influence, it gets them on the show. I don't see JC Jane making the proper card, but as long as they can get the whole faction on the show, this will be really good for them. And like I said, I do see it being a passing of the torch type match where we have Fatal Influence become our WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. I have then booked a street fight, and it is a rematch of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship clash between Bron Breakker and CM Punk from Raw late last year. Yes, I know it's a rematch, but I do think this is a logical move for both parties because Punk, when he returns, I don't know what we're doing with him. Bron is in this feud with Seth, which he's won right now, but I think it's going to go for just a bit longer. But what is next for him after that? I don't know. I don't see it being Roman Reigns right now because I think he's got to have other plans going into the summer. So having Bron then target CM Punk, a guy that beat him earlier in the year, I think that really helps Bron's development and his path in becoming that main event title picture again. So this match, booking it as a street fight, I think is just a fun way to get the crowd involved and it be a bit different to what they had on Raw. That match on Raw was actually really good, and I see this following up as well, but I do see Bron going over this time. This match for me makes sense. So I'm happy to have it on the SummerSlam card. It is now time for our main event in night one, where it is a WWE Championship match between Gunther, Drew McIntyre, and the Demon Finn Balor. How the hell do we get here? Just hear me out. And if you want to hear a longer version of it, I have a fantasy booking series where I've just talked about how we get Finn Balor to become a WWE champion again. So there's a bit of a longer version there. But for this story, look, Drew comes back for probably in the next month or so, and I see him staying in that WWE title picture. Gunther, I do see him just beating Cody in Clash of Italy, and you'll hear what's next for Cody shortly. And as for Finn Balor, I've said it in the Raw review, I've said it countless times, that this man needs to get off Raw and go to SmackDown and challenge for a WWE Championship. Honestly, I could see this happening because he's been on the Stephanie McMahon podcast. He had a really great showing earlier in the year, and even the WrestleMania match with Dom returning of the Demon was a great success. So I'm not ruling this out for Finn Balor, man. Call me crazy, but I think this would be an awesome match. And look, he doesn't need to win because it's a triple threat. And if he does, fucking cool, that's awesome. So regardless, I would love to see this. It is a bit of a stretch, but hey, it's my prediction. Moving on to night two, and we're gonna kick things off with a TLC match between the Vision, the Lucha Bros, the Street Profits, and the Usos. I think this is gonna be a great way to kick off night two. I avoided doing a TLC match or a ladder match in the US title match earlier on because I think this match here deserves a TLC match, and I think it'll work better as a TLC match rather than just a standard four-way tornado tag or whatever. The Street Profits, I do see them entering as the tag champs. And as for the Lucha Bros, I think this is going to be the match where they become WWE Tag Team Champions. Penta, I don't see entering this show as the IC champ, and we'll get on to as to who I think will be the IC champ soon. This will be a great match to kick off the show and get everyone's interest, especially if they're going on ESPN for that first hour. So a huge thumbs up for me if we get it, and hopefully we do. We then have the Women's United States Championship match, and honestly, this was probably the easiest match to predict because it's a simple slam dunk. It's Tiffany Stratton's hometown, and we have her going up against Blake Monroe. Hopefully Blake Monroe actually debuts soon. Yes, this is a really simple feud, and we could hold it off till Mania, but honestly, I do think having it now, and we could begin a long-term story between these two, which elevates the United States Championship as well, because that's needed, and it's an easy win for all parties. We then have the men's Intercontinental title match, and we're going with Ethan Page versus LA Knight. I think this will be a really fun feud. I do see Ethan Page entering SummerSlam as our IC champion after defeating a Penta at Saturday night's main event this weekend, or maybe even at a Clash in Italy too. LA Knight, don't know what's going on with him right now, to be honest. So is he even going to be at SummerSlam? I don't know. But for right now, we're pretending that he's going to be there. And I think this is a very fun feud to do. Both are great on the mic. I think it'll help elevate Ethan Page. LA Knight, I'm sorry, you're not going to go into the world title picture anytime soon. This is where you're staying for now, and it gets you on the card at least. Yes, I do see Ethan Page being the one that goes over in this feud. Sorry, LA Knight, yet again. However, gets him on the card, and honestly, a really fun feud here too. We now have the Women's World Championship, where we're going with Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. Now, I was contemplating a bunch of things here, but one thing that really stuck out to me was the Queen of the Ring tournament, and who do we have win that? Well, I'll get into my proper predictions for that quite soon, but I think Io Sky wins Queen of the Ring and challenges Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam in a friendly bout between both of them. And for me, this honestly makes sense because I don't see much for Rhea on SmackDown after the Jade feud, and Jade does have a match which I'll talk about next. But I think this makes sense. I don't think we need to hold this off to WrestleMania 43. I think we have this now, and it'll be a really good W for SmackDown. It's going to be a great match. We know that for sure. And for Io, it's helped build her back up into that title picture because she was kind of forgotten for a bit there. But after the past few wins that she's had, I'm really glad that we're starting to see the best of Io Sky yet again. So for me, this makes sense, and let's get it. Like I said, we have a Jade Cargill match, and we are going with Jade Cargill versus Charlotte Flair. They've teased it on SmackDown recently, and I think they're going to keep teasing it to the summer, where we eventually see this at SummerSlam. And honestly, it's not a bad match. We know that Jade worked really well with a Rhea type of physique, so moving towards a Charlotte Flair as well, who's got that similar type of build, we could honestly have ourselves a really good match here. We are now going to have ourselves a WrestleMania rematch between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. Yes, I think we're going to get the I'm sorry we fucked up WrestleMania, let's have it at SummerSlam match between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. However, I think we can get it right this time. Randy's having some time off right now, and when he comes back, I could honestly see him coming back and going to Cody and being like, hey man, I'm sorry, I let these voices get into my head. I brought Pat McAfee in for some stupid reason. It all got to me. I was looking at the title. I disregarded who I was. I punted you. Yada, yada, yada. And I think Cody honestly just beats the shit out of him, and it sets up another feud with these two. However, this time I think they're both just being so malicious to each other that we don't really have like a clear-cut face and a clear-cut heel. There's just both hatred towards these guys. And we kind of saw that in their WrestleMania match with the way that Cody was wrestling, kind of like a 2009 Orton. And it was really cool, and I think we need to tap more into that side. And it's going to make this feud revived, and we're going to forget about the disaster that was WrestleMania. So yes, I am booking Cody and Orton to go for round 2 at SummerSlam. No, it's not our main event, but I do think this should happen sooner rather than later. It is now time for our SummerSlam Night 2 main event, and we are going to get the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match between Roman Reigns and Oba Femi. Please, for the love of God, make this happen. Pull the trigger on the man. I think Oba Femi needs to be rocket strapped to the fucking moon and make him win a world title on this show. We need that from Oba, and I think this is the perfect occasion for us to get what we need. And this is Oba Femi as our World Heavyweight Champion. I would have this by booking Oba Femi to win King of the Ring, which I think is pretty clear. I think that's everyone's predictions so far. And yeah, it makes sense, right? The guy's been destroying everyone, and I think we need to keep that momentum going and have that O2 of Lesnar type run where he just demolishes all the big stars and ends up as our World Heavyweight Champion. It makes sense to just pull the trigger on the guy and let's get the strap on him. I will be so keen for SummerSlam if this is the match that we get, with Oba choosing Roman right after King of the Ring. Oof, I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it. But yes, this needs to be our Night 2 main event of SummerSlam. So that's it for my WWE SummerSlam 2026 card predictions. Let me know in the comments what you thought, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, what you would change, what you'd add, or what you'd take out. And if you liked that video, please make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you soon for more wrestling content.